Step right up and see the greatest shock show on earth. For 6 feet under. Killer Carnival of Blood. It will scare you out of your wits. See Blood Doctor, Blood Demon, Blood Brides, and Blood Fiend in the panic show that will freeze your plasma numb. It's a transfusion of terror that's for the strong only. Killer Carnival of Blood. Now, all on one super horror showcase, over 4.5 hours of non-stop, all-scare terror, starring Christopher Lee, Lex Barker, John Ashley, and the all-dead inhuman creatures from the tombs of doom. Killer Carnival of Blood. Thrill to shock upon shock as the dungeons of doom claim new terrified victims and the horrors of supernatural forces are unleashed upon those marked for revenge. See the one, the only, the original Killer Carnival of Blood. Nightmare dreams, blood-curdling screams, and fantastic scenes.
Well, everybody was asking me about what happened to the Blood Island films. Were they ever brought back to 42nd Street and Grindhouses and things like that? And, well, excuse me while I maneuver this stuff, but, you know, we're playing around with, I don't know, we're playing around with the junk here, and I'm trying to do this so I don't lose that wonderful bunch of trailers that I did. So let me adjust this so you can see my ugly fucking face. And okay, let me get in here. The trailer you just saw, we actually, you know, we saw this at a drive-in and wanted to see these movies because I picked up on the fact that Brides of Blood and Mad Doctor of Blood Island might be included in this, and I hadn't seen them. So I'd seen the trailer at the local drive-in, the Livingston Drive-In, which I wound up managing for one summer. But the damn show was up at the Troy Drive-In up on Route 46 in Parsippany, New Jersey. So we had to go there to see it. And a snafu, for lack of better words, was thrown into the mix when, of course, you know, you're going to go see these movies, you want some refreshments. And I don't mean snack bar refreshments. So we had to find a liquor store that would basically not ID us, and the thing to do when you're trying to buy liquor underage is not to walk up to the clerk with a bottle of Boone's Farm or Ripple or any of that cheap shit there, because that's a definite tip-off. My strategy was either a sangria or Matus, because you could cut Matus with 7-Up. So this jerking around made us late, and we came in on the end of what I'm assuming was Brides of Blood. So there was like 3 of us, and the next movie comes on and it's Blood Creature. Well, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, I saw this 3 weeks ago on Chiller Theater on Channel 11. So it's not a bad movie, but you know, here's your Mad Doctor, I guess, the Blood Doctor doing, you know, experiments, and basically, like I said before, this is basically the island of Dr. Moreau with one creature. Alright, so we get through with that, and the next thing that comes on is Blood Fiend. And I'm looking at this, and one of the guys that was with me, this kid Tommy, turns around and he goes, didn't we see this like 2 weeks ago on Channel 4, like half o'clock in the morning? And I'm looking at this film and I'm going, yeah, it's Theater of Blood with Christopher Lee. So, and if things couldn't get more fucking depressing, the next film is Blood Demon, which is basically Torture Chamber of Dr. Sadism, again with Christopher Lee, Lex Barker, and a bunch of, you know, weird medieval torture devices. So, didn't get to see any of the shit that I wanted to see. And then they actually did another one, the Blood-O-Rama Shock Show, screaming more blood than you've ever seen before. This one had Brides of Blood, Blood Fiend, Blood Demon, and Blood Drinkers. So, you know, the whole tease was, and you just saw the trailer, you did see stuff from Mad Doctor of Blood Island in there. You did see the little Beast of Blood floating head, you know, thing in there. So, you know, it was all a tease, and this was basically put together by Independent International, Sam Sherman. And we know how notorious they are for changing the titles of movies. But they weren't the only ones that did it. You know, Ted Michaels put out something, and it wasn't a rip-off. It was Spend the Night in the Grave with the Corpse Grinders, the Undertaker and his pals, and depending on where you were, either the Worm Eaters or the Embalmer. And the Embalmer was a boring-ass Italian black and white movie, which was originally called Monster of Venice. So, you know, that's pretty much where the Blood Island stuff went until it went to, quote, home video, which was another joke because Regal Video had this stuff, put out Brides of Blood as Brides of the Beast, but that was the only Blood Island movie in the thing. They basically had this thing, Return of Dr. X, which gave the synopsis for the Mad Doctor of Blood Island, but I have no clue what the fucking movie was. And when these films were basically sold at TV, again, the titles were all changed. Brides of Blood became Island of Living Horror, heavily edited. Mad Doctor of Blood Island became Tomb of the Living Dead, heavily edited. And Beast of Blood became Beast of the Dead, again, heavily edited. So, you know, at least thankfully, you know, with Severin, they put the stuff out all intact. And this is like the third time that the Blood Island films have been released. Image had them first, then Alpha Oldies, and now, you know, the Blu-ray Ultimate Editions, which were in the box set. So they're out there. They're great movies. And like I said, this is just the way that, you know, they got us back into the drive-ins and grindhouses on this, you know, Blood-O-Rama thing, you know, over 5 hours of programming. And some of the programming was good. Others of it was shit. And today is July 14th. And Sid Haig would have been 83 years old today. Sid is greatly missed by his friends and fans, and I don't mean Sid the actor, I mean Sid the human being. I mean, Sid Haig, who gave, you know, a piece of his convention earnings to Habitat for Humanity, who basically gave a whole bunch of stuff to be auctioned off for the victims of the tsunami when that hit. And Sid was just one of those very charitable guys that always kept his price around $20 and never charged the fans to take a picture with him. Hanging out with Sid for the time that I did, I learned from him. I learned how to be a better human. And that's the Sid I remember, not the Captain Spaulding Sid, not the crazy Sid in the Philippines, not the Sid pointing a gun at you all the time, but Sid, who was basically one of the nicest and most remarkable human beings I had ever met. And that's the Sid I remember. And all I can say is, happy birthday in the hereafter, my friend. You are greatly missed and loved by your fans. And I know you're up there with John Ashley and Vic Diaz and the whole crew from the Philippines probably whooping it up. And, dude, you are very missed here. The convention scene hasn't been the same since you left. Matter of fact, I would say the convention scene has been dead since you left. So, Sid, like I said, I don't have the words to express, you know, my regret that you're not here anymore, but I am honored and I will cherish your memory as you and I were friends, and I will always honor and cherish that memory. So that's all I got for you today. Things are happening, so again, thanks for subscribing, thanks for tuning in, thanks for telling your friends, and we'll be back with some more goodies shortly. So until then, stay safe, and we'll see you then.